Deion Sanders' more football spring ball idea gets J.D. PicKell's stamp of approval. Colorado Buffaloes head coach Deion Sanders has proposed a groundbreaking shift in college football spring games, inviting another team to compete instead of relying on intra-squad scrimmages. Inspired by NFL joint practices, Sanders believes this change would elevate competition and fan engagement. With college football rapidly evolving through the transfer portal, nil deals, and roster limits, Sanders argues it's time to enhance spring ball. J.D. PicKell backs Deion Sanders' game-changing spring football idea. Sanders has put forward that instead of traditional intra-squad scrimmages, Sanders wants teams to practice and compete against one another, similar to how NFL teams conduct joint practices before preseason games. I would actually like to play the spring game against another team in the spring. That's what I'm trying to do right now, Sanders said. Sanders stated after revealing that Colorado's spring game at Folsom Field on April 19 will air on ESPN2 at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. He elaborated on his vision. I would like to style it like the pros, Sanders said. I'd like to go against someone in practice for a few days, and then you have the spring game. I think the public would be satisfied with that tremendously. His proposal quickly gained traction, drawing support from On3's J.D. PicKell, who endorsed the concept in a recent YouTube video. So if you're telling me my two options are no spring game versus watch Colorado and Syracuse, I'm taking Colorado-Syracuse every single day of the week and multiple times on Saturday, PicKell said. So bring this on is what I'm trying to make sure we say. PicKell also highlighted the benefits of increased exposure, emphasizing how it could help recruiting. Give credit to Deion Sanders too, because, in the world of current modern college football, there is, I think, a certain trend in the importance of being visible and being relevant. More exposure is always going to be a good thing, PicKell said. Sanders didn't have to look far for an opponent. Syracuse head coach Fran Brown responded on social media, offering to bring his team to Boulder for 3 days. However, current NCAA regulations prohibit teams from scrimmaging other schools during the spring, as confirmed by an NCAA spokesperson. While this rule remains in place, many top programs are already shifting away from traditional spring games. Schools like Nebraska, Texas, Ohio State, Oklahoma, and USC have either canceled or altered their spring games, opting for skills competitions and 7-on-7 matchups instead, despite concerns from some coaches, like Nebraska's Matt Rule, who fears spring games could expose players to poaching via the transfer portal. Sanders remains unfazed. With the spring transfer window running from April 16 to 25, he isn't worried about competitors scouting his players. Ultimately, if Sanders' vision becomes reality, it could mark a significant shift in how spring football is played. I hope we see more of this, quite frankly, as opposed to no spring games, PicKell said.